Hello there. It is morning, late morning. I am in Germany. I have been in India for what seems like a long time. India and Nepal from the time I left Germany last year in May, when I was in the same place. And I was in the same seat. And I realized last night I was getting an idea for a video, which I have now completely forgot. Sorry. But I realized that I started making these videos last year when I was here teaching Ashtanga. And when I'm at Guruji's, I'm very um, involved in what's going on there. I'm usually in his room talking with him, or I'm doing some work there, or I leave the house and go into the city, and I'm spending the whole day with people. So I even don't watch the shows that I typically watch. I don't think about this stuff. I'm just kind of involved. So here, I have a lot of time. I read a lot. I write a lot. I watch a lot of shows. I watch a lot of, not, just TV shows like, dramas or comedies. I watch documentaries, and I don't know, I just have a lot of time. So I do those things that I don't do any other time, especially when I'm in India. But that time gives me the space to integrate and to grow and to kind of take everything I've learned when I was in India and put it into my life, into action in my life, into action in my mind, into action in my being. So I enjoy it and I look forward to it, but I also, of course, I miss it. I mean, I just left yesterday, and I have that kind of travel hangover that happens to me now. I was discussing it with my friend last night. It's, when you're coming or going from India, especially when I'm in Mysore, Mysore is not near an airport, right? So you have to get to the airport. So then this time I happened to be at Guruji's house, which is pretty far outside the city. And I wasn't going to be able to find someone to take me into the town and to the bus stand at the time I needed to go. So I ended up having to come into town, into Gokulam earlier, the day, like Tuesday. And Wednesday I had the fly bus, so I had to get to the stand. And the time the fly bus, I could get the rickshaw to take me there. So I got the same guy to take me into town Tuesday. And Wednesday I got him to take me to the bus stand. I stayed with some friends Tuesday night. And then my flight was Thursday morning, but it was so early I wasn't going to be able to get there unless I took the fly bus at 2 in the morning. And I just thought I wanted to sleep more than that. Well, I didn't end up sleeping much more than that, but I did stay in a hotel nearish to the airport, and there were roads closed, so it took over an hour to get to the airport. When I left for the airport on Thursday morning, it was a 10-minute drive, and I'm like, why was it so hard to get here, but getting back was so easy? So, my point was, when you're staying in, especially in Mysore, there is no short route anywhere. And so when you're coming to Europe, there's always one stop somewhere unless you buy a straight through ticket, which costs more, and I don't ever have the money to pay that. So well, and you have to buy it through Lufthansa because the like Air India and all that, they do, maybe they do, I don't know, but they're more expensive. So it always adds time onto it, so Thursday, so I'm counting my traveling from Tuesday, because I could have ideally went from Guruji's directly to the bus stand and then directly to the airport. None of that happened. So I was at Guruji's, had a whole day in Gokulam, then had a part of a day traveling by the fly bus, and then this extra long time getting to this hotel. The hotel was very nice. It was comfortable. It was relaxing. The bed was nice. I couldn't sleep. I slept like 3 hours. Got up in the morning and had to get to the airport. And then my luggage was, I had bought an extra luggage piece because I have two bags I always carry with me that I check in. And they had showed it that I bought extra weight, not an extra piece, and then we had to go back and forth, and she found out that I finally did buy an extra piece. I already told her that. Anyway, then I had that 2 hour, 2.5 hour flight to Mumbai, and I was in Mumbai for 3 hours, 3.5 hours maybe, and then had the flight here, and the flight was almost 9 hours. So, my point was this kind of travel, especially yesterday, not including Tuesday and Wednesday, because I was on the ground and I was in regular sort of situations with people I know for most of that time. When you're traveling, you're in this recycled air. There is no new oxygen coming in, or at least that's how it feels. And because you're stuck on the plane. I was stuck on 2 planes for a different time and in the airport, and it was all comfortable. Everything was smooth. There was no hitches in the travel, which oftentimes in India there are hitches. This time there was none of that. It was all very smooth, but you're in that air. And so when you get there, like last night I got here and I feel this pressure here and I feel this pressure here. And I'm thinking, God, I feel hungover, and I don't drink. I haven't drank alcohol for years, other than, as part of certain tantric worship ceremonies. So I'm not hungover, but I have this weird feeling of hangover because of the level of, or the lack of oxygen maybe in the air. So I got up and practiced this morning, which made me feel a little bit better. I went to Starbucks and got a chai, which is kind of the only place you can get a chai at that time of morning. It's still not great chai because it's not real chai like you get in India. And I wrote in my journal and I read a couple chapters, passages from a book. And I got on the internet and watched a couple of things this morning since I got back. But I got here and I'm like, I'm feeling inspired again. I just got here and I've just done the tiniest bit of introspection, the tiniest bit of integration of the learnings I've had in the last year. And yet I already feel this inspiration to make a video. Now, I'm not obviously doing any of that talking about what I'm inspired to do. I'm just telling you my journey. And that's okay too, because it's all relative. I've got the inspiration. I don't have a specific focus yet, but I'm feeling like I want to do it. So talking it out like this oftentimes takes care of that and stimulates what I want to discuss. So expect some more videos pretty quick. I just have the feeling a lot of things are shifting and changing in the world right now. I mean, it's not a feeling, it's obvious if you are watching the news about the US, all the stuff that Trump is doing, if you know anything about a lot of the European countries, all the different things that's going on there. There are lots of things going on everywhere, including India. I miss India, but I'm also okay. So I'll tell a little story about that. Every year in January, Guruji has an Utsava. Utsava is the anniversary of something. So when you have a building that you built or an organization, you can have a yearly anniversary celebration, and that would be the Utsava. So for his temple, it was the 20-year anniversary, and I have been for 3 of them. I missed 2023, but 2022, 24, and 25, I've been there for the full thing. This year, what they do is Guruji's from Kerala, and Teyam is a big thing where the people dress up and paint themselves as deities, and then they channel that deity and dance around, and the drummers from Kerala come and they play the drums very intensely. But it shifts a lot of energy in the field meaning the place that they're in, the kshetra, the field of the location. So I felt it before, but this year for some reason it really got deep in my being and shifted my perspective on some things. And so after that, I ended up going to Mukambika with my dear friend. We took an overnight bus, went there, and had a really amazing darshan, and came back the next night. But everything since then has seemed super simple and super easy and super organized, even though a lot of things in India often don't seem terribly organized, especially to Western people. When there was little things that what I would have used to call glitches in my travel this week or in my couple different things I've done in the time that I was doing stuff in between the Utsava and now, the situations didn't disturb me. Since this time at that weekend of the Utsav, I really have not been terribly disturbed by a lot of things, which is very interesting to notice. Because, like, here, it's 3 degrees Celsius, and I was coming from 33 degrees Celsius in Mysore during the day. And it's really fucking cold, and I hate the cold, and I normally would be very stressed out by that. I am not so bothered by it. It's like I'm okay. Um, I don't really have any money here, but I'm not really disturbed about it. I figured out how to have breakfast and how to get, I will get paid, in a couple weeks. But it's not disturbing me where it would really stress me out before. This whole travel yesterday, most things were smooth, but there were the little things that are glitchy in India that happened along with it, and they didn't disturb me. It's like I have reached a different level of consciousness, awareness, whatever you want to call it. And there's a thing in yoga where the pole opposites do not disturb you. It's in the Yoga Sutras. They're meant not to disturb you because one can pull you this way, the opposite will pull you this way, and you somewhere find yourself buoyed back and forth between these two different things and have a disturbing experience in life. And a yogi is one who is not disturbed by the opposites, is one of the things it says. And then it goes on to tell you some techniques in the third pada, I believe, that tells you some things to work on that can make you not disturbed by the things so easily. And I kind of seem to have that right now, and I have worked at it for a very long time to find equanimity in things, and so to have it is a new feeling and not something I know what to do with. Even just the observing that I have it has been interesting because it's made me feel differently about my approach to life. I'm not so worried about how things are going to happen or how things are going to flow. And that's okay because it's not about worrying about it. It's about getting into the space of understanding that if you have a devata, a deity, a devi, whatever you want to call it, a god that you worship, and you are a strong enough bhakti person, devoted to them enough, you know that they're going to flow you in the right way, and it's all going to work out. And I seem to have achieved that space, so it's interesting. And it's a nice place to be because I've never liked this. I'm disturbed by every little bitty thing all the time. And I'm so glad not to be disturbed by things right this moment that I am not going to complain. And I'm not complaining now. I'm just telling you there's hope for a new place to be if you keep the work going, if you keep working on yourself, if you keep doing the consciousness and awareness things to bring us to this position. So that's where I am right now. And I'm going to take my time here in Germany and work more on that, and take my time here in Germany and I'll reword that. Not work on it, like force something to happen. Work on letting the flow happen more and more and more and not trying to force anything to happen. Because there's a book I read years ago called Power versus Force, and there was some subtitle on there too. I can't even remember the guy's name who wrote it, but the idea is we're all exerting force all the time in our life, and force incites resistance. So when you're pushing against something, it tends to push back. That's also a tenet of the Abraham Hicks teachings. If you're trying so hard, you're feeling the resistance of not having this thing that you want in your life. So it's fighting back against that. Where power is to know you're in the flow of life, you're in the flow of God, you have that energy inside you, and it's going to move you forward and into these things. You do not have to try to make it happen. You really simply have to get out of your own way. And if you can get out of your own way, because we create the problems, this creates the problems. If you can get out of your own way with these things, everything seems to become more easy and more simple. Doesn't mean they are, but it means your approach to them and your receptivity to them is so that they seem simpler when they're coming to you, in their manifestation in your life. And that's a really lovely place to feel and to be. And so to have that feeling right now, it's nice. It's good. And I'm happy. Even though I still have that feeling of a hangover behind my eyes a little bit right through there. It's okay. Because it's all fucking working out the way it's supposed to. And it's going to keep working out the way it's supposed to unless I interject problems into the flow of things. So I'm not going to do that. So don't create more problems in your life than you need, because they're going to come up. If we add to them, they make it worse because we're creating from our own self, If we can create peace and flow from our own self, doesn't that sound a whole lot nicer? Yeah, to me it does. Okay, I'm going to go. Um, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. Ciao.